Good morning, everybody. Rise and shine. Ready or not, let's do this. This is a ridiculously early morning webinar to get your day started off right, whether you're ready for it or not. There's a little bit of mindset, a little bit of business sense, something for your MLM, network marketing, small business, brick and mortar, online or off. Whether you are a newbie, a seasoned veteran, or somewhere in between, there's something here for you. Welcome. My name is Mina. I'm coming to you from New York City out in the borough of Queens. I created this webinar to push myself out of my comfort zone and to share with you my experiences as I grow my business online, with hopes that you gain some insight into what it takes to do the same thing. So let's go into success together. It's Wednesday. For many people, it's hump day. So if it's hump day for you, happy hump day. But for today, Wednesday, I like to consider it a wacky word Wednesday in honor of a teacher I used to know who designated this day as Wacky Word Wednesday, where she would introduce a word to her students and they would repeat the word and they would put the word into sentences. And in essence, at the end of the day, they would learn that new vocabulary word. For Wacky Word Wednesday here, we're going to focus on a word that is essential for the growth of our business. And the wacky word of today is growth. Now, there are two portions to this hangout. There is a mindset portion and there is a business sense portion. I am inspired a lot by John C. Maxwell, by Anthony Robbins, and a lot of great people out there who are coaches, who are business people, who are entrepreneurs, and that's what I'll be sharing with you today. Today, I'm sharing something from John C. Maxwell. So let me take a look at my notes here, and we're going to focus on the wacky word growth. So here are my notes here. Let me just do something here right now. Okay, sorry about that. Had to just turn something off. All right. So I found this great article by John C. Maxwell. I'm looking at my notes. And it's about Alexander the Great. We all know about Alexander the great conqueror. He conquered great empires, but it didn't last for very long, which led some people to call him the Alexander the Not So Great. And today for our mindset portion, we're going to analyze his thinking and why while he was a great leader and he was a great motivator of men, why his kingdom was not sustainable. So let's start with how he operated as a leader, how Alexander the Great operated as a leader. And he measured success in attaining his goals. That was how he measured success. Now, that's not a bad thing. To set goals and attain them is not a bad thing. But what John C. Maxwell teaches is that you should focus more on personal growth than on goals. Now, when you focus first on personal growth, and then you combine that with goals, you will have more sustainability as a leader for yourself and for your organization. So what John Maxwell says he says this: leaders ought to prioritize personal growth over goal setting. Leaders who concentrate excessively on goals are at risk of complacency when they achieve them, and they're in danger of crushing disappointment if they fail to reach them. Okay, so to make that sentence more clear, it's clear. If you focus too much on goals, you just get comfortable. And then when you don't reach those goals, you get really disappointed. And that's what happened to Alexander the Great. We don't know if this is true or not, but I don't know if it's a legend or something, but he had come to a point where he was crying because there was nothing left to conquer, and because he was a great conqueror. Same thing with your business. If you're just focused on, I'm going to just add this one more person here, one more person there, add it to my business and grow my team or extend my downline, and that's only your goal, and you're not focused on your personal growth and personal growth of your team members, then you will reach complacency, or you'll be really disappointed when your team members either leave your team or they're not doing what you want them to do. So what John Maxwell says here, goal-conscious leaders focus on events, but growth-conscious leaders focus on the process. So remember, today's wacky word is growth, and growth is essential for yourself as a leader and for your business. So Alexander the Great, he was obsessive about future conquests. He planned them to the minimum. And he only thought about the battlefield. But as one historian wrote, that Alexander he was not very concerned with administration. He was not concerned with consolidating his territories. He really was not concerned in the personal growth of his men. He was a great motivator, but he really was not concerned with the personal growth of his men. And he also failed to build that governing structure necessary to secure and sustain his vast empire. And as a result, it did not last for very long. It fell apart after he died. So as a leader, you need to focus on the process. So if you are a home business person, you are an MLMer, a network marketer, and you have this company that you are totally in love with and you love the product and you're telling people about it and you're having people and people are joining you on your team, it does not stop there. I mean, you're reaching your goals of growing your team. Now you have to focus on the growth. First with yourself, because everything starts with you. You got to grow. You invest in personal development. Seek leaders like John C. Maxwell, the Dale Carnegie Company, leaders that you see in network marketing like Ray Higdon and Diane Hochman and Lisa Grossman. A lot of great leaders out there. You know, invest in their teachings and invest in your personal growth. And then when you're filling your cup up, you're ready to pour into your people and invest into their personal growth, because in turn, they become their own leaders, and that's how they contribute to your growth as a team, as your organization grows, okay? And that is how you're building that structure necessary to sustain your business in the long term. Doug Firebow is another great leader, and he has an amazing set of teachings on SoundCloud, talking about leadership, about transformational leadership, which is a very important thing to know about in terms for your personal growth, because then when you learn that, you can pour it into your people. So I really encourage you to find him on SoundCloud. His channel is called The Fire Zone. So he focuses a lot on personal growth. Another thing that John Maxwell teaches is that goal-conscious leaders motivate people, and there's nothing wrong with motivating people, but you got to take it a step further. Growth-conscious leaders mature people. So here, Alexander the Great was a great motivator of men. He motivated them to march through thousands of miles in harsh conditions, and he motivated them to risk their lives in one military campaign after another for the sake of military glory, for the sake of the conquest. But he never developed a successor. He never developed somebody to take his place when he was gone. And it was because he refused to provide one. I guess it was just all about him. He didn't really think long term. He was just like, it was all about him, because he killed off any man who could be seen as a successor. And so Alexander the Great was actually not so great, because he ultimately was responsible for the failure and the disintegration of his great empire, because he never developed and trained somebody to lead after him. Now, when you're in network marketing and MLM, it is not, there's room for everyone at the top, but you also have to think about, you know, you're not going to be here forever. So if there's something that you can leave your business to loved ones, to children, you can train them to do the same thing. That it can be seen in a way as investing in leaders, or just investing in your downline, investing in the people who've joined your company, investing in their personal growth. Remember, it's always starting with you first. You're investing in your personal growth so that you can invest in the growth of others. And it can be seen as that way, as developing multiple successors. Think about Jim Rohn and the people that he has influenced. Think about Zig Ziglar and the people that he has influenced. My coach and mentor, Diane Hochman, has studied a lot with Jim Rohn. And what I'm learning with her today is what she's learned from Jim Rohn. And what Jim Rohn has taught her, he has learned from his mentors, which I don't remember the mentor of Jim Rohn right now, I think was Edward Short. I don't know. I'll leave it in the link. I'll leave it down in the description below. But think of it as that way. Alexander the Great, he failed to develop a successor. He failed. While he was a great motivator of his men, he got them to do things that he wanted them to do for the sake of the conquest. He never really invested in their personal growth so that they can be their own leaders when he is gone. But when you compare that to Zig Ziglar, to Jim Rohn, they did invest heavily in the growth of the people that they had as their audience, as their followers. And in turn, what they did is they created a legacy of leaders, of leadership, of amazing leadership, that when you look at motivational quotes, you will always find a Zig Ziglar quote, a Jim Rohn quote. They abound, and they're in the many. And you'll always find their teachings. And this is what Diane Hookman says to us when she trains us. She says, go and find a Jim Rohn video on YouTube and just sit there and watch it. It could be like a 5-minute video, and just sit and watch it. And you'd be amazed at the personal growth that he is throwing in, and he is investing into the people that were listening to him there. And now what he's giving to you, his legacy continues long after he is gone. So this is something to ponder. This is what John Maxwell gives to you to ponder. Goals are fine to have, but he gives us this challenge. And he wants us to write it down. There's power in writing down things, not typing things into a computer, but writing things down in a notebook, you know, and with a pen, because that connect with, I have a pencil here, a pen against paper, it does something. It makes some kind of connections in your brain, and you are more likely to remember them. Remember what you write down more than if you type it down on a piece of paper. Now, I'm not down on technology, because technology is a wonderful thing. But if you want to remember stuff, write it down on paper. So this is a challenge that John Maxwell wants us to write down. It's, what are the ways you would like to grow as a person? Now, goals are great, but think of the growth, which is our keyword today, growth. Think of the ways you would like to grow as a person. List out the traits you would like to develop as part of your character. Courage, kindness, gratefulness, honesty, etc. Write this down. What steps are you taking to grow into the sort of person you aspire to be? Now, this is important stuff to write down. Let me repeat it to you, because it's really important. The ways you would like to grow as a person. List out the traits you would like to develop as part of your character. Honesty, courage, grace, kindness, gratefulness, honesty. I just said honesty. Honesty is important. What steps are you taking to grow into the sort of person you aspire to be? And number 2, the people you would like to develop as leaders. List out the most important relationships in your life. It could be your family, it could be your spouse, your children, and people who are in your team, who are in your downline. How are you serving and adding value to their lives in order to help them grow? This is important to write out as well. Something to think about during your personal time, before you start your day, and also before you go to bed at night, to write this out. Have you accomplished what you wanted to do today? Are you doing what you want to do? Something to reflect on and to consistently reflect on, because growth is a process. Personal growth is a consistent process each and every day for yourself and for your people on your team or in your downline. So this is the mindset portion of this hangout. And now we're going to move into the business sense portion of how you can continually add to your growth. And I found this great article about how to be able to digest material that's difficult to read. Have you ever come across a book that you need to study either for school or for your business, but it's a really hard read? It's just not entertaining like a novel, or like this latest thing, like I guess for people who are they love the Harry Potter series. I'm sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry, excuse me. Or, you know, or the latest, I don't know, Daniel Steele novel. I mean, I'm not a reader of those, but I know there are people who like read those things voraciously. But if you have to read a book that you know is going to help you with your business, but it's really a difficult read, it's not an easy read, how do you get through that? So I'm going to share with you 3 different ways by 3 different leaders of how to stop reading and start learning, how to absorb information better. So here, it says here that business is full of dry, boring material that needs your attention. You know, a lot of things that you need to do for your business, you're required to learn it. But of course, a lot of that material is dry and boring. So here are 3 different ways that you can absorb that information better and learn. So the first thing to do is to skim it. You know, you can go through a book and skim it through. Skim it first. And this is by Peter Economy, the management guy. What he does is that he skims it instead of trying to read it in detail. He just like goes through it quickly and he finds important points. And those important points, as he skims through that book or that article, he writes down on a notepad or a notebook. And by the end of skimming through that piece of material that's difficult to read, he has a list of important points that he found in that piece of material. And when he goes through those important points, he pretty much gets the gist of what the book is all about or what that article is all about. So that is one thing to get through a difficult read, is to skim through it and list down the important points that catch your eye. Number 2 is from Marla Tabaka, and she's known as the Successful Soloist. And this is what she does. She calls it mix it up a bit. She is very kinesthetic, because her learning style changes with different needs, with different tasks. If she has to assemble something, she has to get her hands into it and feel it. But she, in many ways, she's very visual. So what she does is she tries to find, but you know, when it has to do with reading stuff, she tries to find an audio version of that book. Like if it's a certain book that she needs to read for her business, she'll try to find it in audio so that she can listen to it. And if she cannot find an audio book on the book that she needs to read, she will read the difficult parts of it out loud. Have you ever tried that? I've done that, especially material in Spanish, because English is my first language, Spanish is my second. If there is something that I need to read in Spanish, and it's difficult for me to process reading it, I'm going to read it out loud. But she adds a twist. What she does is she puts a visual to it as well. As she's reading that paragraph that's difficult to read silently, as she reads it out loud, she tries to visualize it. And in turn, when she does that, she can see it better and learn it better. So that's how she processes her information, and that's how she absorbs her material. And the last person, his name is Eric Holtzclaw from Lean Forward. He says to understand your learning style so that you can figure out ways to process that information better. So he is an auditory learner. He also likes to hear things to learn. And so his job, he has to review thick business plans and complex corporate strategy documents. So what does he do? He uses his smartphone and his tablet that has built-in functionalities that supports his learning style. It's the built-in text-to-speech technology that reads the content to him. Oh, okay, so he has the smartphone and his tablet read the information to him so that he can hear it and listen to it. So as he listens, he purposefully summarizes the information he hears in his head to make sure that he understands it better, okay? So we have our smartphones and our tablets, and that's a great way to also learn new information. If you have to learn something, or you have this really difficult read, if you can download it to your smartphone or to your tablet, and you can employ the text-to-speech technology to listen to it while you're commuting or while you're driving. You know, that is another way to get through difficult material. So those are 3 ways to get through difficult material so that you can learn more, is to skim it and list down and write down the important points in a notepad, to find an audible, I'm saying audible, That's why Audible, the Audible app, is very popular. Find an audio version of the book you're trying to read and listen to it. And if you can't find an audio version of it, then read the difficult parts out loud and try to visualize those difficult parts. Or, use your technology, the built-in text-to-speech technology, and have your smart technology read stuff out to you so that you can hear it. So that is the business sense portion. And why do I mention this part? Because as you're growing your business online and you're investing in personal development, and maybe you want to learn the more, you want to get really into internet marketing, and there's a lot of things, there are a lot of great strategies out there, and it requires you to read material that sometimes can be difficult to read. And that's why I'm sharing these strategies with you. Things like PPV and PPC, which is something that I'll get into later on, or advertising on Facebook or things like that. So you're going to have to learn all of that stuff, and you need a lot of patience to learn that stuff. But if you're really into it, you will have the patience for it. And I'm sharing with you these strategies to help you get through those difficult reads more seamlessly. So thanks for stopping by today, Wednesday, hump day on Rise and Shine, Ready or Not, Let's Do This. My name is Mina, coming to you from New York City, out in the borough of Queens. I hope that this snowstorm has not really kept you back and you're still pushing forward. If you like the material I shared here today, feel free to share, subscribe to my channel so that you're updated when I post new material, and leave a comment below. See you tomorrow, Thursday. What'll be January 29th. We're almost at the end of January. Same bad time, same bad channel, 7 p.m. Eastern. No, 7 a.m. Eastern. Have a great day, folks. Take care. Cheers. Bye.